Welcome everybody to the 13th chapter, Points to Ponder. So in this session, we plan to review the 13th chapter using the points to ponder. So please have the questions and answers open. And then we will, after finishing this, we plan to start the 14th chapter, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. So the 13th chapter is the first chapter in the Charama Shatkam, the last 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And this focuses on Asipadartham, that is the oneness of the Atma and the Brahman. The Jivatma and the Paramatma have the same constituent. It's like wave and the ocean have the same constituent, which is water. Like that, the same consciousness is there in us, the little puny Jivatma, and the big Paramatma. Paramatma is Ishvara, which encompasses the matter plus the consciousness. Jivatma refers to the subtle body, the Sukshma Shariram, the Sthula Shariram, and the reflected consciousness. So, in this chapter, Bhagavan says what all is Atma by negating anything that is not consciousness. That is, anything which is an object is not the subject. That is the whole idea in this chapter. Okay, and in the next chapter, which we'll hopefully start today, is the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. There he says anything which has gunas is not a consciousness. So he distinguishes consciousness from the anything which is the object, and in the 13th chapter, and anything which has properties in the 14th chapter. So with that, let's start with the questions. This is very important. So please pay close attention, because with this understood, your appreciation for Bhagavad Gita will come to a new level. So what are the 6 technical terms? These technical terms are called Paribhasha Shabdaha, about which Arjuna requests clarification in the 13th chapter. Can somebody answer? The 6 technical terms. You can open your questions and answers, and it's there now before you. It is Prakriti, that is the nature or the matter, and the Purusha. So if you see all these terms, there are only 3. The rest are almost similar. So there are only 3 classes in these 6 terms, and the other terms that you can lump it in one category. They're kind of almost similar for all practical purposes. So Prakriti is nature or matter. Kshetram is the field, which is also, like you can say, it's matter, subtle and gross matter. Then the Purusha is the Lord who dwells within the body. Purusha, Kshetrajna, that is the knower of the body. The consciousness is what knows the body. It is conscious. The body, mind is also inert. Mind gets awakened by the reflected consciousness. Like a movie screen, it's dark, but when light shines on it, it as though all the images get played. It looks as though it's come to life. So Kshetrajna, Purusha, and that which has to be known, Jneyam, they're both the same. All 3 are the same. Purusha, Kshetrajna, Jneyam. And then there is Jnanam. Here, Jnanam means knowledge, but here it is used in the context of virtues, which when inculcated will make the mind fit for receiving the knowledge. Okay. I've already answered this question. Several of these 6 topics are synonymous, and hence the 6 terms can be divided into 3 categories. What are the 3 categories, and what terms are in each category? So I already answered this question. So consciousness is one. Then material universe, that is the matter. And then virtues to make the mind fit for obtaining knowledge, that is jnana. So if you go to slide 10, consciousness, you will see. So Purusha, Kshetrajna, Nyaya, more or less the same consciousness. Purusha, also called the Atma, is consciousness in the context of one body. Kshetrajna is a field, consciousness in the context of all bodies, which is same as Brahman. Nyayam is Brahman because that is what has to be known. Consciousness in the context of the universe. There is also consciousness within inert matter. The consciousness is what makes the atom spin. Consciousness, you can think of it like electricity. Without electricity, all things don't move, right? So it is all the atoms, the electrons are moving around the atom. All those happen because of consciousness. Consciousness is there both in inert things and in living things. The only difference is in living things, there's a suitable medium called the Sukshma Shariram to reflect the consciousness and enliven the body. Okay? In an inert thing, it's not there. Then, so those are the three terms. And then the material universe is covered in slide 9. So if you go to slide 9, Prakriti and Kshetram, more or less the same material universe. It is also called Anatma. Anything that is not the Atma is called Anatma. This is the object of our experience. It includes both matter and energy as well as the mind. Kshetram is in the context of various bodies. Remember, Kshetrajna is in the context of all bodies, right? So Kshetram is in the context of all the bodies, while Prakriti is in the context of the entire universe. Okay? So these are all pretty much similar terms. It is like saying inner space and outer space. But what is it? It is space. So, okay. So now I'd like somebody to answer this. So what do these 6 terms mean? What do these 6 terms mean? And I've already answered. So we've already seen that. Purusha, Kshetrajna, Nyayam, we've seen that's a consciousness. Then Prakriti and Kshetram, we've seen that is the matter or the universe. Jnanam has the connotation of means to knowledge, not knowledge, or values and attitudes to possess to qualify oneself to gain the knowledge. It is there in slide 13. So here, Jnanam generally means knowledge, but here is used in the used in the context of distinction. That knowledge which, when learned, you will know the distinction between the body, the field, and the knower of the field, Atma. So Krishna declares 20 values which he calls knowledge because when practiced, it reveals the distinction between the Kshetra and the Kshetrajna. All these I declare to be knowledge. What is contrary to it, I call ignorance. Thinking that the body is me is ignorance. Okay, is it understood? So we've seen the definition of all the terms. They're very similar. In the context of a body, it's called Purusha. In the context of all the bodies, it is called Kshetrajna. And then Nyayam, it's Brahman. It is in the context of the universe. Why is the body called Kshetram? I'd like somebody to answer this. Anybody? It's an important thing, so I'd like somebody to answer. Anuji, Yalakshmiji, Ravi. Everybody has turned the cameras off. So. Are you guys there?
That's on number 4, right?
We are on question number 4. Yes. Why is the body called Kshetram? So you have to look at the answer.
So it's subject to decay and destruction.
Correct.
Kshe means that it disintegrates.
Yes.
And therefore, what dies is what you would call the kshetram. So and shariram is also the body, right? So once it's changing, it's subject to death, decay, and all of that. That is called kshetram.
So yes, shiyate iti kshetram, that which is subject to decay and destruction. She means what which disintegrates. Therefore, that which decays and ultimately dies is kshetram. So body, we think so highly of the body, but that's the name, kshetram. And the body is called shariram for the same reason. Shiryate, it is shariram. Shiryate means that which is decaying every moment. Body is also called deha, deham. Trivida tapai dahyate iti deha. That which burns due to the three sorrows is called deha. And the three sorrows are adhyatmika tapam, three types of tapam, burning sorrows. Adhyatmika tapam, adibhautika tapam, adidhaivika tapam. Adhyatmika means self-inflicted sorrow, worry, our own mental distress, and disease. Adi bhautika means other people troubling us, hurting us, other animals troubling us. Adi devika means earthquake, things which you can't even predict, flood, all those things, that which torments us. And the second meaning, why is the body called kshetram? Body is like an agriculture land. Seeds need a wet land to become a plant. Seeds are like karma, good and bad. Karma, to become karma, phalam, fruits, requires a body. So that's why it's called a field. This is Shankaracharya's explanation. Okay, so everybody has the video off today. What are the stages in the evolution of one's thinking during the study of Vedanta? This is a very important point. So I'd like one of you to answer. Very, very, very important point in the
So
study of Vedanta.
right, so there are four stages, right? Four stages. The first is recognizing I'm this body, so I'm now in body consciousness. Then the second stage is where I am in the body, so I'm now seeing that I'm something more than the body. Then stage three is I am consciousness different from the body, so I am really not this body. There is something beyond the body. And stage four is I have recognized who I am, that pure consciousness that is not only in my body, but it's in everything around me, in every other body. So
Correct.
the oneness, yeah.
The only thing is, for the stage two you mentioned, I am the consciousness in my body. No, stage two is there is consciousness in my body. So in the first stage, you think you are the body.
Right.
Okay, this is, I am the body. I am the body. That's what most people think. So they are at the start of Vedanta. This is, we are ignorant. People think I am the body. Then they think, okay, there's something called a consciousness in my body, which is making me do all these things. That realization comes, and then they think, oh, I am that consciousness. I am not that body. I am the consciousness which is different from the body. The body is like a shirt I wear. And then four stages, it is the same. This is a big leap, huge. From till three, people can go. With a lot of meditation, you can go to three. But from three to four, I am that same consciousness in all the bodies. It's a huge leap of faith. So is the subtlety understood? Everybody? Ravi, are you there?
Yeah, Ganesh.
So it's very important. So this is a very subtle point and very, very important. Okay, what is covered in the Charama Shatkam? The individual Jivatma or God, who's Paramatma, or their equivalents? Can somebody answer? What is the covered?
The oneness of the Jiva and the Ishvara
Correct.
as the all-pervading universe.
It's called Asi Padartham. Asi means isness. Asi. So the Jiva is Paramat, Ishvara, which means, how can you say you are God? Because the content is the same consciousness. The oneness of the Jiva and the Ishvara. It looks different, but the content is the same content, which is like water, wave on the ocean. So it is called Asi Padartham. So knowing your true nature, of course, you're limited. The small wave cannot move an iceberg, but the ocean with its entire might can do that. But the content is the same. That's the important thing. You are that pure consciousness. Once you know that, your outlook will be different. So it is the Asi Padartham. So it's there in slide 4. So you see in the Prathama Shatkam, it is Jiva Swarupam. In the Madhyama Shatkam, it's Ishvara Swarupam. And in the Charma Shatkam, Jivatma Paramatma Swarupa Aikyam, oneness of Jivatma and Paramatma. What are the topics covered in chapter 13? So every chapter when we study, we have to know the flow of thought through that chapter. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult and it will look like random ideas. So what are the topics covered in the Charama and the 13th chapter? So first is Atma, Anatma, and Jnanam. So that is what is covered in 2 through 24. So Bhagavan first introduces Kshetram and Kshetrajna. He has not covered it in that order, same order that Arjuna asks. Then Kshetram is explained. Then Asipadartham Jnana Yoga Sadhana. That's right. That is in the contents of the 3rd chapter. So here Arjuna asks questions in a Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnam Evacha. So he lumps Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. Etat Veditum Ichchami Jnanam Jneyam Cha Keshava. Jnanam and Jneyam. See, there he is combined, but Bhagavan answers little differently. He introduces first Kshetram and Kshetrajna, then he explains Kshetram, then he explains Jnanam, and then Jneyam, and Purusha and Prakriti he explains finally. So one thing is not explained very well is Kshetrajna, which is kind of implicit. So he's talked a lot about Kshetram, but Kshetrajna is kind of implied. He's just implying. It's the Kshetrajna is the Brahman. So he's implying that. Then Jnana Sadhanani, Jnana Palam. All the sadhanas for attaining the knowledge and the benefit of that knowledge is talked about. Now, we've seen this again and again. How is evolution described in Vedanta? So Earth was not created in a day, all that. In the evolution and dissolution, it's called. It's creation and sarge yanti. So it's creation, and then pralayam is dissolution. Okay. So how is evolution described in Vedanta? We've seen this in the 7th chapter, we've seen this in the 8th chapter, and he's explained it in shlokas 13.6 and 13.7. And how is Bhagavan explaining evolution? Anybody wants to take a guess? Or you can go to slide 35. See in slide 35, explanation of creation. So just before creation, first there was only Purusha, sorry, there was only Brahman and Maya. Maya is the unmanifested form of matter. It's not even energy. It is just unmanifested. So Maya includes what? Our Karana Shariram, the causal body, as a seed, it is there. It has all the DNA, the karma, everything you've done, it's stored in there. So it includes matter, energy, everything as unmanifested. There's no time at that time. There's no concept of time. Then it releases avyaktam to vyaktam. This is the cause for everything. The first mahat, the buddhi, mahat buddhi, the cosmic intellect, sankalpa, first thought of creation occurs in that. This occurs in Brahman. And then from that, mahat ahankara. So mahat, everything is in a large scale. Mahat means like big. So it is the cosmic intellect, which is the intellect of the Brahman, of the universal intellect. And then cosmic ego, ahankara, it creates a form to the universe. Just like ego is what helps you identify yourself. Otherwise, you'll be lost. It gives a form. Oh, I am this person. I'm a male. I'm a guy. All that. And so it is Mahat Ahankara, also called Samashti Ahankara or Hiranyagarbha. It is the cause for the five subtle elements. Because once you're solidifying first the concept, the thought of creation comes, Sankalpa. From that, the elements come, the five buddhis. So the consciousness shapes the Maya and makes it manifest as the five elements. And from this comes Brahmaji. So Brahmaji is the one. So this Ahankara, the cosmic ego, is figuratively, it's given a form called the Brahmaji, the Chaturmukha Brahma with the beard and all that. That is nothing but this Ahankara. It is the cosmic ego which gives form to the universe. So Brahma is called the creator, but it's just symbolic. We depict Brahma as this person with a beard. No, it is just the cosmic ego. We give it a symbolism as a person, but in reality, it is the cosmic ego. And from that comes Mahat Bhutani, the five. From the five subtle elements come the five gross elements, from subtle to gross. So what are the subtle elements? Subtle elements are like the Sukshma Shariram. The mind is also subtle. The mind has subtle air, subtle water, all that stuff. From that comes the actual things, the bodies start coming. So that is how creation is. Mahabhutanyahangkaraha bhutirapyaktam evacha. So Indriyani dashayikam cha panchachendriya gocharaha. Okay. That is how it is explained. And then going back to the questions, in Shloka 13.7, that is slide 34, explain the term Chetana. This is a very important term. I've told this over and over again. So I would like somebody to answer this question. 9. You can go to slide 38 to see the answer. Chetana. What is the term Chetana? So the Chetana is a word that Bhagavan uses in that same, when the creation topic. So Panchachendriya, Indriyani Dashaikam cha Panchachendriya Gochara, Icha Dvesha Sukham Dukkam Sangata Chetana Dhritihi. I am desire, aversion, pleasure, pain, the mind-body complex, borrowed sentiency. So Chetana is not the mind-body aggregate. Mind-body aggregate is separate. It is called Sangataha. That's the word he used. Chetana is the borrowed sentiency. Chetana means sentiency. In the context of the body, it is the borrowed sentiency. I told you the concept of movie theater. The screen is just dark and blank. It's a blank screen. Our mind is blank. But when the light shines on it through the reels, what are the reels? Imagine a movie theater. Previously, they used to have a reel, right? And the light shines on it, and all the images are formed. It is not the original light. It is the reflected light. That is why it is called Chid Abhasa. That is the reflection. It is a reflected consciousness. Abhasa is the reflection. Chit is the consciousness. Chit Abhasa is the reflected consciousness. Mind is inert matter. However, it has the property of reflecting the consciousness and to appear sentient. It looks sentient. Chit iva bhavayati chittam. Sangataha means mind-body complex. Chetana is borrowed sentiency. Both are part of Kshetram. It's only the original consciousness. It is still, Chetana is a borrowed sentiency, but it still belongs to the Kshetram, because the borrowed sentiency can be dull or bright. So this is a very subtle point. So I'd like you to please understand this thoroughly. Consciousness belongs to Purusha. but borrowed sentiency belongs to Prakriti. Why is that? Because by definition, consciousness is unchanging. But the borrowed sentiency, why is our mind performing very alertly one day and less alertly another day? It is because the reflection, the mind surface becomes dull, so the reflection is dull. Okay, so anything which changes belongs to Prakriti. Consciousness doesn't change. So it is still sentient, but it's at a different level. It is the reflected sentiency. Is it clear,
Oh,
Ravi? Yeah,
borrowed.
Jalakshmi.
Yeah, yeah, clear
Yes.
for me.
Yeah. Okay. So the borrowed meaning what? The Prakriti, that's all the tattvas and stuff, right? Those are the things it's reflecting, yeah? The
It's
thoughts in the
just
mind.
reflecting the consciousness with all the grooves. So think of a screen. If it's smooth, the reflection is good. If it is all, there is bumps and everything, the reflection has shadows, all that thing. And further, if the color is red, let's say the screen, light reflected is red, right?
Right. So
All
those are
those are
right. So those are the things in the mind and the senses and all those
exactly
things, right? Those are the things that sort of pollute that
correct.
clear consciousness, yeah? Yeah,
Yes,
I was just trying to understand that part of it. So that's the
yes,
borrowed, right? Okay.
yeah, that's a borrowed sentiency. Okay, so we've covered 9 questions. Then 10th question. How many values does Krishna give under the term jnanam, which when imbibed makes the mind suitable for absorbing this knowledge of the nature of consciousness? So how many values does Krishna give? And can anybody answer?
20 values.
20 values. Yeah. So Krishna gives the famous. So it starts um, here. अमानित्वमदम्बित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिराचवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः. These are all very famous verses. People use chant it quite often. It's in fact they chant it as part of a separate parayanam. So these 5 shlokas, it's worth remembering. Indriyateshu vairagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadihi dukkha doshanu darshanam. So that different values Bhagavan is talking about amanitvam, humility, adambitvam, modesty. We saw the whole list. Okay, we're not going to go into the details because we've already done it. Then in Shloka 13.13, Atma is said to be neither Sat, real, or Asat, unreal. What is the meaning of Atma is neither real nor unreal? Anybody wants to answer? So Shankaracharya gives 2 possible explanations. One is in slide 51, other is in slide 52. Shankaracharya classifies Atma cannot be cognized. Therefore, it is neither Sat nor one cannot say this is, one cannot negate it. Then say Atma doesn't exist, one cannot say. Atma exists, one cannot say. But still it has to be known. Why you can't say Atma exists? Because you cannot give any proof. It does no attributes. And why you cannot say it doesn't exist? Because there is consciousness in your body. Without that, you won't be doing anything. So one cannot say it is there because you can't give proof. One cannot say it is not there because the fact that you're talking, doing everything means you're conscious. And the other interpretation Shankaracharya gives is asat means is not. Satyam means is. Asatyam means is not. Refers to cause, karanam. This is because cause is in the potential form, therefore it is not available. Sat here refers to karyam because it is the effect is readily available, already affected. It is the effect. So Brahman is beyond the cause and the effect, karma phalam and karma. So karanam refers to the action, the karma. It is latent, and sat here refers to karyam or the karma phalam, the fruits of the action. And consciousness is beyond all that. It's like electricity. It'll just light up a bulb. It'll just make a fan go through. How the structure is of the instrument is depends on the instrument and its previous karma. Is this point clear, everybody? It's a very important point. Sat and asat. So it is neither sat nor asat. Anybody has any questions here?
I'm good.
Good. So next 12. How is Brahman explained in Vedanta? Explain the concept. Brahman as explained in Vedanta. So how is Brahman explained in Vedanta? How, through using which concept? Yeah, the concept
Using
is
the
called
concept.
upadhis. So it is the concept of upadhis, which is given in slide 55. So if you go to slide 55, Brahman is explained in Vedanta using upadhis. Brahman has no attributes or properties. Upadhi means, the word, it's confusing. If you look at the definition, it'll say limiting adjunct. It's like um, analogy, you can say, but the technical term is limiting because it's not fully used to this. It's adjunct. It is not regular use. Adjunct professor. The professor doesn't belong to the payroll of the university, but still is teaching in the university. Do you see that? Like that, adjunct means it doesn't really tell exactly, but you can kind of use it, and it's very limiting. It's not true because Brahman, by definition, has no properties. You can superimpose an object on the attributeless Brahman and then remove the object. So, for example, you bring your hand behind a crystal. Crystal is like Brahman, it has no properties. It's clear, transparent. You put your hand behind, then you can maybe see some of the qualities like the striations you can see. So how Brahman works, you can see, and then you remove the hand, and then you imagine, oh, this is how Brahman works. Okay, so that is called upadhi. It's explained using upadhis. It's putting an object to understand and then removing the object. So then it's etched in your mind. If something else comes, this is how it will look like. In reality, Brahman has no properties, not even that striations that you see. In which shloka does it say that the consciousness in the body experiences the gunas of the body, but it's free from it? Which shloka? It's a very important shloka. It is explained in shloka 15, slide 59. Tattva vittu mahabaho guna karma. So in here it is explained. It's like told many times. Sarvendriya guna basam sarvendriya vivarchitam asaktam sarva brichaiva nirgunam guna bhoktracha. We've also seen it in the 3rd chapter. That's where it comes as Tattva vittu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayo guna guneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate. The knowers of the truth of the division of the gunas and their functions, they engage in actions without attachment, fully knowing that it's the gunas which engage with the sense objects. So you are programmed in a certain way. So you go with the flow, but you know that Oh, the consciousness. There is I am the consciousness, which I'm like an electricity principle. It's like going in a flow state. You're doing the action smoothly without ego. It's like as though something else. I am observing and things are moving. That is called a flow state. You're not doing anything bad. You're just doing your duty in a very so when you have anger and like violence, all that, you get enmeshed. But when you're doing this action, like when you're taking part even in a war, it's like you're in a flow state. You're just doing as though you're witnesser of the body moving, like shooting arrows. You're in a flow state. So that's what, and this is important because we are going to see that in the next chapter is all about the gunas. And 14. In Vedanta, Brahman, which by definition is indefinable due to the lack of gunas, is illustrated through paradoxical opposites. Explain the opposites in 13.16 and 13.17. So, paradoxical opposites. The paradoxical opposites are Brahman is inside and outside. It is unmoving and moving. It is far and near. It is undivided and divided. So we've seen this in 63, 64, 65, 69. So if you go to 63, we'll briefly recap. Atma has no boundaries. Light is there everywhere. We can see light only when a hand is placed. So it is inside and outside. So inside on the fingers and outside of the fingers. Unmoving and the moving. It appears as though the light is when a dancer dances in a dark room and the light is shining. It looks as though light is moving, but it's a dancer who is moving and not the light. It's called dharma adhyasa, transfer of property from one to another. And far and near, for ignorant person, Brahman is far away. He continues his search, but going on and on. But for a intelligent person, the Brahman is almost it's himself. Okay. So inside and outside, then the moving and the unmoving, then far and near. Okay. Then comes, we'll go to, in which loka does it clearly say the asipadartham? You are that Atma. Which loka does it clearly say? Anybody wants to answer? I'd like somebody to answer. It very clear. In one shloka, it very clearly says that this asipadartham. Anuji? Yes, 13.18. So if you see 13.818, Jyotishamapi tajyotihi tamasa param uchyate jnanam nyayam jnanagamyam grudi sarvasya tishtitam. It is seated in the hearts of all. So this consciousness, the Brahman, that Brahman, that Jyotisham api Jyotihi, beyond the ignorance, is seated in the hearts of all as the Atma. Okay, so very clear statement. What are the common aspects of Prakriti and Purusha? There's only two things that are common. Rest are all not common. What are the aspects? Anybody wants to say? Both of them are beginningless, anaditvam, and both of them together created the universe. Without Maya, Prakriti, matter won't be there. So they both are needed, like a father and mother principle to create a child. Both are needed to create the universe. Anaditvam, they're beginningless. That's the only common thing. And in which loka does it say that even the subtle body, which includes the mind and the pranas, is inert? Which loka does it say that? Anybody? Yeah, 13.21. कार्य कारण कर्तृत्वे हेतु prakriti uchyate. In the creation of the physical and the subtle body, karyam, that is the one that is created. Karanam, the cause is the subtle body. For the physical body, that is all, because all the karmas are imprinted in the subtle body. Prakriti is the cause, so they belong to the mind, is in the subtle body, and the prana is in the subtle body, therefore it belongs to Prakriti. What are the two analogies, both copied from Kathopanishad, Bhagavan uses to illustrate the nature of the consciousness? Two analogies. Can anybody say?
Akasha and Surya Prakasha,
Yes.
space and
So
sunlight.
that's correct. Space and sunlight, Surya Prakasha, both are derived from Kathopanishad. Okay. So with this, we've completed the revision, the summary of the 13th chapter.